creativity and their support of the arts. In business, right, through their business, primarily. And today we're here to steward this for our enjoyment as a place of beauty like they enjoyed it for us and also for future generations. And one of the ways we do that is by supporting local arts and culture and our local and regional artists. And that is really what this exhibition is about, as much as it is about activating the garden. We've all driven by here many times and looked up at how beautiful it is. And as we started to plan for our exhibitions this year, we wanted to find a way to bring more people into the garden and bring this more into service of art. And one of the persons on our curatorial committee suggested that we talk with Staab, and I'm glad that he did. And so we're all here now enjoying the fruits of that plan. So I'm just going to put a little plug in for membership that if you're not in our orbit yet and you want to continue to help us be a partner with us to support exhibitions like this, please consider becoming a member.
What does it cost to be a member?
Starts out, thank you. It starts out at $45 for an individual membership, $25 for students. If you sign up at the front desk today, we will give you Roy's exhibition catalog for free, which is a $10 value. So thank you for coming, thank you for supporting Milwaukee and everything that Milwaukee has to offer, and specifically us here at the Terrace. So we're all here not to hear me talk, so I'm going to turn it over to Roy, and he's going to tell us more about his group.
Yeah. Well, John introduces me as a Milwaukee artist. Thank you, John. I lived in New York a long time. I think I'm really a New Yorkese. Actually, I made a work once for Terrace, and then Terrace, yeah. And Gus Komarski asked me who I was. Are you an artist from Milwaukee or Wisconsin or the world? And I feel myself, I'm a world artist. Now, how do I say that? Because I go around the world and make my world. So I feel a unity with many peoples and many cultures. So that becomes a sum total of what I'm making here in my work. This piece is called Shadow Dance, and you're here on the right day, and the right time, because the work from on top, you look at it, it's very simple. It's 5 ovals and 1 circle. And it's made as I made something in Poland last year. I made it out of reeds in Poland that I stole from Belarus. And I took them across the river, and I made them on the work that I made in the middle of the river. And it was made sort of the same way, attached to saplings. There I used different saplings. This is Willow, and there I used poplar. And the beavers loved it. And 2 days before the show opened, and there they ate it from the bottom, and I had to repair some of them, but it was perfect for the show. And this piece that I have here today, this man next to me, his name is John, sir, and he would say to me, you have 9 more days to get the work done. Now this is what a director does. And then the other day he said to me, you know the work's not finished because there's one black rubber, which is someplace over there, that I left on because I like the work to be as perfect as I could be and in control. What happened?
It's okay.
So anyhow, so I took it off today and tied it with jute because this is made out of jute to be all homogeneous.
Stapler. Somebody's got a stapler going.
Probably that sign saying jump over the fence here. Anyhow,
what did it look like 9 days ago when he was nervous?
these were not all up. I made this piece out of my head. I did not do any drawings. I only did research. So I didn't know it's going to work, and I put the stakes in from drawing on the ground. Measure in between so they're all measured. And then I assembled these, is a better word than weaving, at the bottom. So it has that unified shape and it's tight. And then I had to pull it up. And when he was yelling at me, literally yelling at me, 9 days, I had to pull up 2 of these. This one and the other one. And at that point, I knew I had something. And I've been doing these for over 35 years. And everyone is different. And this one is on the ground. Many times I work in the water. Sometimes if I'm working for a short period of time, I'm not concerned with anything. I can bundle this and eye it and use the water for a level, but here I had to use a laser for a level. I'm concerned it has to last until September 18th or longer, because I like the idea of this in the winter time. So I'm promoting it right now. Maybe it'll last through the winter and we can see the contrast between dark and light and the snow.
You don't want me yelling at you.
You feel so good. I hadn't used that word.
So anyhow, the piece is to be looked at from above, made to be from above. Made to be, you can touch
Straight
it.
up above you mean, or up there?
Up there.
Up there.
Anywhere.
Okay.
If you're a good boy, up there. So you can see the geometry. And the magic thing about the piece is actually it's in layers, and the layers talk about perspective, and from various viewpoints, they are different shapes within the cell, within the whole unit. If you study graphics, a woodcut, this is the key block, this is the circle. All the rest are ovals. And that unifies the whole piece into one. And there's always a balance when you're working. You think about your work when you're working, what's needed and what's not needed. And I look for the essence of things, but not too much and not too little. Although sometimes there's a photograph upstairs of just a ring on a very simple, pure space, and that's all it needed. Because I made a work there the day before, which was more complex, and it was too complex. So simplicity, it depends on the site and the place. History of formal gardens comes from Iran, 5th century BC. The garden still exists. They have a central access to the work, to the garden, and it's a formal garden. I use that in reference to where I am here. So there's a central access to this work, and also a cross access here. And French and the Italians have this kind of cross, and then on the four corners is like a labyrinth, or even actually the garden upstairs in the courtyard is pretty much a formal garden, right? But I didn't want to do that. This is my vocabulary, and that's theirs. So it makes it mine.
So how about, can you talk about working in water and how that influenced this work in terms of horizontal?
Yes. When the Smiths owned this house, this was a wetland. So when the water was high, this was full of water. Is that what you meant?
No, just how like your reflections and working in a horizontal line versus a vertical line.
Oh, okay.
Continue with what you were saying about the wetland and how that.
Well, that was called a left winger.
Okay.
No, but what he was talking about, and
it's true. This is wetland.
Is that when the Smiths lived here, the road was not there. So the road went in the 30s. They built this in the 20s, and the lake was 6 feet higher than it is now. And there was no real beach. There was a rocky beach, and so high tides or storms, this would be covered in water. After it became a museum, I have a great photo of all these proper ladies looking at plants down here in the garden, and it's just a sea of water down here. So when the Friends of Villa Terrace about 15 years ago put the garden in that you see today, the plants that they put in here, they had to think about that. So these are Armstrong maple trees for the reason that they can withstand having wet feet for a while. So that's the genesis of the wetlands here. We haven't had that problem in quite some time.
Okay, so I started making these works. All right, here's the real story. I lived in New York City. I moved from France in 1980 to New York, and I did one installation in a funky space, not a formal space. The next year, nothing. But I knew about the garbage in New York, so I used the dumpsters as a resource for certain materials. And the following year, I made a work with these dumpsters materials in a parking lot across from where I lived in Brooklyn. And then I realized that you couldn't see it very well. Even at noon, it blended, the fabric it was blue and it was red, it blended into the color of the bricks. You couldn't see it. So I'm looking for definition. So the following April, I went out to Ocracoke, North Carolina, and I brought my balls of string, ropes of textile, and I laid it out, and that's where this started from. The textile was an urban material, natural materials were growing there, and I started using them, and I made a work that's horizontal. Because my drawings were horizontal and flat when I was working on paper. tying the two ends together, okay? And so, what I discovered in a few days watching the work, there's a reflection. I like the idea of reflection. Here we have a shadow, that's reflection. Traditional sculpture goes up like this and down. And I always worked in this kind of flat area with layers and with reflection until I went to Hiroshima and made a work. And then I had to go up like a traditional way because we're on flat land. That piece was kind of elevated. So this didn't make any sense on the hill, but this makes sense if you look at it from on top there. Flatness to me, or these plains, it has a calmness to me, and that's what I'm working for, a peace and calmness in my art.
Do you ever do any labyrinths? I was looking for a place to kind of enter it.
The labyrinths has been done by so many people, I reject them.
Okay.
I have done them in snow, like on Valentine's Day. Linda helped me on a piece, but that we just did a cross, a five-pointed star. If you go upstairs, you'll see a five-pointed star made in Korea, another one made on Big Cedar Lake, and then we made another one on another pond. So I didn't include any snowworks in the exhibition. Any other questions? Any questions? Yeah.
Where in France are you from? And the reason I ask, when I look at this, I think of Edith Wharton's writings in her books.
Where did she write from?
France.
Yeah, but I lived in Paris and I lived in the south of France.
Yeah.
I lived in Saint-Paul-de-Vence.
Yeah.
I lived with the movie stars
Yeah.
in an abandoned house that I cleaned, and the cops kicked my friend. I would bring people into my place that were at the fountain. We were going to camp over the night. He says, "Come and stay in my abandoned house." And now Kurt Jürgens once was living there, and when I would be singing my opera, which I sing opera, they would hear me singing. So I'd walk to Vence to go shopping and come back, and they would drive me home.
And that's the last place in the world I want to visit. You know, there's been
Vence?
a lot. Yes, the garden area in the southern part of France.
You do or do not?
I do.
Monte Carlo has a really good one, and Foundation Meg has a super one. But then they have to jump the fence for that one too.
Yeah. But I also play violin, and I play for a lot of weddings up here, and I can just see brides and grooms in here.
Only if you play Paganini.
Boy Paganini or the Paganini concerto?
See, she's trying to catch me.
I'm trying to get myself out of it.
Ah!
But I can just see families being really talking.
No, I want everybody to come inside and experience it. You know, it's inside-outside sculpture. Everybody looks at sculpture; it's a superficial thing, and here you can go in. But I don't want. It's all pegged here,
Yes.
so it doesn't go up and down with the wind. But if you go inside, it's half the other experience. You're on the outside. I'm on the inside. So everybody wants to be on the inside. So come on in. Huh? Come on. Oh, it's over here. It's best. And crawl in like you crawl like a kid. And that's how you get inside. Perfect. Once you're inside, you're safe.
As the materials or materials, are you going to? Do you even consider adding to it?
No. This is it. It's made to be temporary, and using invasive materials because I don't want it to be so precious. Come on in. But you gotta crawl in low.
Yes, but what Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. And Will. And I walked across. Big lane. And we walked across. But still.
I just went in the they're going to come up under the stick. They're going to come up and knock us You should move back out. You need to back out or go inside. Back out. Okay.
It's a lot easier to get in down there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I think she got
You
it.
can't go up there. Okay. There you go. She says it's easier to get in here, which it is. Yeah.